The first impression about mediator is very important for the success of mediation process.
Good morning.
That is
How are
why
you?
mediator behaves friendly, is polite and attentive to the parties. The mediator introduces him or herself and thanks the parties for coming. Before starting mediation, mediator performs small talk with the parties in order to build trust and warm communication with the parties. Mediation process starts with short and simple introduction speech of the mediator, where he or she explains the mediation process itself to the disputants, the rules and principles of mediation, rights and obligations of the parties. The mediator as well explains the need for collaboration and motivates the parties to be active and creative. Also stresses the need for respectful attitude towards each other. Finally, the mediator secures the parties' commitment to mediation and confidentiality of the process by a formal written contract where all terms, rules, and principles are explained.
So, come on in, welcome. Good morning to everyone. My name is Julia Radanova, and I will be your mediator for today. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you for agreeing to come to mediation. Before we start, how would you like to be addressed during the session?
Sorry again, what was the question?
How would you like to be called today during our communication?
Mr. Giovanni would be okay.
Should I call him Mr.?
Do whatever you want.
Giovanni, is that okay to call
Okay,
you?
Giovanni.
Giovanni, thank you. And how about you?
Egle, simply by name.
Egle, Giovanni, thank you for that. So, have you had any previous experience with mediation? Have you heard about it? Have you tried it?
Absolutely. I was involved in a mediation session before.
I understand. Egle,
It is
how
my
about you?
first time. My lawyer advised me to come here. We will see. He said that it might be helpful.
I understand. Well, great. Just to get your expectations right for today, it is all about you. Mediation is a way of helping you work through conflict. And my role here is of an independent facilitator to help you and guide you for a high quality conversation. We'll be focusing today on issues that you want to discuss with the attempt to possibly find a settlement. But I'm not a judge and I will not judge you. I will not render any decision. I'm not a legal advisor. So, in case at any point in time you feel that you may need some legal assistance, you're free to ask your lawyer, call for an assistance.
Sorry, but will we get final decision now, today? Now?
You will get a final decision if the two of you agree to something. But I will not be making a decision for you. The decision is the decision that you'll be writing for yourself. Is that clear? So, mediation is a voluntary process. You're here today because you agreed to try this way. And I have no previous connections or relationship with any of you. I'm unbiased towards the substance of the issues we will be discussing. However, if at any point in time you may feel that I'm losing my impartiality, please raise this to me and I'll try to attend to this issue. And we'll try to make it work. I see that the phones are also here. May I suggest that we don't use phones unless we need to, and we put them on a silent mode, maybe even put them on the table, not to distract us? That's great. Another rule that I find useful during the mediation is for us to listen to each other. I know that there may be points when you'll be emotional and we'll be speaking about very hard issues, but I advise you to just make sure that you remember what you wanted to say, and I'll make sure that you have the chance to speak up. Please do not interrupt each other, is my message to you. So, if we are all agreeing, I suggest that we move forward And what brought you today here is your little gorgeous girl. What is her name? How old is she?
She is Lila. She's 1.5.
She's almost 2 in 1 month. He just even do not know
There's so
her
many
age.
numbers nowadays, aren't they? Lila, to help me visualize her, do you happen to have a picture to show me?
I do.
I have as well a lot of
have it.
photos. But
What?
Oh,
Here it is.
I suppose it's the only
Lila,
one
my
photo which
little-
you have got.
It's okay.
My little Lila.
Lila. So I suggest we have her picture in the center of our table because we'll be focusing our attention entirely on Lila. Today it will not be about your rights, your obligations, your relationship. It will be about Lila and her needs and her interests. So to help me understand better about Lila, I suggest that each of you give me a little bit more information, like a little recap of the facts that brought you today here. Is that okay?
Okay.
Who'd like to start first?
Yeah, but before we start, you were mentioning privacy of this process, right?
Yes.
It should be confidential and stuff. So how you specifically are you planning to keep it confidential? Because in Lithuanian mass media,
Come on.
you know, there's this mess about me and Lila, and it's an invasion of privacy.
Confidentiality, to address the issue, confidentiality is the cornerstone of mediation. Everything we say here will remain here. In the agreement that you sign, the mediation agreement that you have mailed me before coming here, there is a specific provision to this. The notes that I will be making during the process will be destroyed afterwards. Does that address your issue, your question?
Seems fair, yeah?
Then, if we don't have any additional questions, I suggest we move to a short description about the facts that brought you today here. Is that okay?
May I start?
Okay, how do you feel about that?
Okay.
The problem is very simple. Egle kidnapped my daughter.
Liar, he's lying.
She hides her in Lithuania and she doesn't want to bring her back
He's lying.
to Italy.
Stop it.
I
He's
know.
lying.
I-
And you know, he gave me a consent to take that kid.
I understand that it is very hard for you, and that's why I congratulated you for agreeing to come here. But I would just want you to remind you about the ground rule that we set about trying to keep our emotions for a bit. I will make sure that you have the same chance to say your thoughts and your opinion about the issue. Let him finish, and then we'll have.
But don't
the
let
chance.
him to fool you.
I understand.
If I may
understand.
go on,
Giovanni, please do so.
I gave my consent only for a short travel in Egypt. With Lila, of course, she and Lila. But instead, she brought Lila to Lithuania. And then she doesn't want to bring her back to Italy. And this situation cannot be taken any longer.
If I understood you correctly, Lila lives currently in Lithuania. Has there
Yeah, she
been
is.
an arrangement of your personal communication with Lila? How does that work?
Well, we have no arrangements, but it is clear that I have to see her every day, I have to raise her, and I'm ready to take the custody of my daughter if necessary. I have a good job here, I have a spacious flat, and
I understand,
That's it.
Giovanni.
I guess.
So then, if you take the custody, would Egle still be possible to see Lila?
She simply will not have time to look after Lila. She already has a son, and besides, I discovered she has a son the time I went to Lithuania. I didn't know before. She hid this situation from me, you know?
I understand, Giovanni. Thank you for the short recap. We'll turn back to you later. Egle, can you tell me now your opinion about the issues brought you today? I understand it is very difficult.
He's simply lying, telling not true to you here. He's taking advantage of me. I have no support, no financial possibilities.
not
I'm here in
again.
Italy without Italian language. All my friends, relative families in Lithuania, and I have 2 children. I must take care of 2 children.
Oh, the single mother thing again. Come on.
Yes, I'm
come
single
on.
mother. Yes, he's not taking care of a daughter, and it's really
believe
difficult
her.
to me to talk even about it. And can we make a break just to?
Egle, I was about to suggest the same thing. Let's have a little break here. Afterwards, what my proposal is that we break into separate sessions, private separate sessions, where you'll be able to speak with me directly and we'll be able to go into the details of what actually has happened. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a
So
break.
then, before we move, I suggest we toss a coin to choose who to start first. So Egle would be head, and Giovanni would be tails. And so Egle, we will start with you. Giovanni, I would ask you to wait for a little bit outside.
Okay.
And Egle, let me show you to the restrooms.
Yes, please.
Restrooms are over there, straight in the corner.
The caucusing technique is often used in mediation when communication between the parties is intense. That allows the party to share sensitive information.
Has there been any arrangement?
As well, caucuses help the parties to lower the level of emotions and helps mediator to manage the impasse.
He's taking advantage of.
Information shared by the party during separate meeting with mediator is confidential and cannot be disclosed to second party without consent of the first one.
Future of 2 children and my son.
Again, thank you for agreeing to this private session. As I mentioned during our discussion with Giovanni, everything that we say here will remain confidential. So unless you want something to be brought explicitly to the attention of Giovanni, whatever you tell me will stay with me. So you were a lot of emotions were running high during the session we have had, and your feelings were obviously hurt. Would you like to expand a little bit more on that? What's the situation with Giovanni? What has happened there?
Actually, I have little to say. After the marriage, I moved from Lithuania to Italy, and straight after it, our relation got worse, and we grew apart. Actually, I was hoping that the birth of our daughter will make our relationship go on, but on his side, he just left home. And meanwhile, actually, I noticed that my son from the previous relation, you know, he has autism, he has special needs, it's a really special boy. He was facing difficulties in Italy, like adapting himself to new school. He do not know language, and it's very tricky for such a kid to get acquainted with all that environment things. So I decided to take my kids back to my homeland because there I have support, I have family, and as for a single mother of 2, I think it's the only way out to go on in that situation.
You mentioned that you moved away with Giovanni. What do you mean by that?
We were still living in the same house, but you know, we were doing everything separately. Just I was sitting with my baby at home, and he was spending all evening somewhere with his friends, or I don't know even. And after work, he was not coming back. He was going somewhere, and he was coming back only late in the evening after the Lila's bedtime. And we did not had any common things.
Has this separate life kind of upset you?
Yes, definitely. It upset me.
I can see that the concept of family is important for you, and I can also see that for you raising a kid required the 2 parents to be together. I correctly
Of
understand.
course, family concept for me is very important, and I like see picture of family like two parents taking care of their children, spending a lot of time together and living together, and not doing everything separately, and not leaving mother with a baby and going out to have some fun.
But has that been the case at the beginning, when initially you moved in with Giovanni and you got married?
So of course, from the beginning, everything was really great. We felt in love. He was really attentive. He showed a lot of interest in me, presents, flowers. We were in love. We were happy. But all situation changed after our vacations in Lithuania.
What happened in Lithuania during this
He met my
vacation?
son. He met my son.
And you haven't told him before about the condition of your son, or did he know already
No.
about him?
It took a while for me to tell him. I think it's understandable because my son has special needs, and I was afraid. I was afraid to tell him, and I was afraid that he will not accept him. But after our marriage, I took him together, my son Lucas, to Italy.
Well, raising a kid especially with special needs in Lithuania as a single mother, I can understand that this is a challenge, and you are a brave woman. So you mentioned that you met Giovanni and then you got married. How long? What was the period before the two of you got married?
It was quite quick. We got married after 2 months. But I was always that person who did everything to keep the relationship going. I was that person who left my country, left my friends, work, everything, moved to Italy without knowing that Italian language, and he lost interest in me. And what is most important, he lost interest in his daughter. He was coming late. They did not spend together any time.
But you were in love at the beginning. You were together with him at the beginning.
Yes, I was. But his love was really short. He lost that interest, and he was not taking care about his baby. That's the most important thing. And now he says that he wants the custody.
And as before, the concept of family still seems to be of importance for you. So have your status changed since you moved back to Lithuania?
No. I don't think it's possible even to find some new relations, because I'm single mother of 2 and I have to take care of my kids.
I understand. Well, Egle, thank you for the very honest and very open conversation. It really is helpful, and it allows me to gain a deeper understanding about the situation that you're facing. I will now ask you to wait outside until I have the same discussion with Giovanni, and then we will jointly discuss the options that you have in terms of what is the best in terms of interests of Lila. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Thank you for the patience.
Should I wait outside in
Yeah, I
corridor?
will show you outside where you would be able to wait. There is a sitting area there. How are you, Giovanni? I hope you didn't mind waiting a little bit until I have the chance to speak with Egle.
No, I don't mind. I had a chance to look around. It's a nice place.
You like it? We also like it. Thanks. Well, before we start, I just want to emphasize on the fact that everything we say now during this private session would remain confidential. That is to say that if you want something to be explicitly transferred back to Egle, you have to advise me to do so. Otherwise, everything you tell me remains with me. So,
Okay, thank you for telling me.
great. So what I'd like now to gain better understanding on is about your relationship with Egle. How it started, something specific that you may want to share with me about that.
Okay, from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Well, I met Egle during my trip in Lithuania in 2000 and I don't remember.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay.
It was love from the first sight. After the holidays, we decided to keep in touch via Facebook, via Skype. over the phone, up until I invited her to spend a couple weeks in Italy. It was a great time, I have to admit. That's why I decided to go on with her. I went to Lithuania, and to say frankly, I was shocked. I was surprised to discover once there that she already has a kid with mental illness, mental disability. Is aggressive. He's aggressive, and I could not communicate with him in any way. And thank God, Lila is okay.
So Egle had a child from another relationship of which you were not aware until you came back to Lithuania the second time.
Yeah, right.
Do you think that this might have had an impact on your relationship with her?
I am sure it did.
What did you do about it?
Well, I confronted her.
You confronted her in what sense?
Fight, sort of fight. I asked her why she was trying to hide that fact.
The fact?
I mean, there's circumstances. Yeah.
I understand. What was her reaction to that?
She started. Oh, she was crying. You know, she was doing those single mother speech, and like she was blaming me for not giving attention to her, for cheating on her, and for giving too much space to my mother's opinions.
What happened next? How did it develop from there?
We reconciled. After all, we were in love, and that's why I decided to propose her to be my wife. She came to Italy with a kid, Lucas. With him, and nonetheless, the tension between us started to grow. As I told you before, she was suspicious. She started blaming me. The fact of my mother.
So she was blaming that your mother is taking control over
Yeah,
your
but come on, it's completely false. Yes, at the moment, I live with my mother, but it is normal.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's usual that a mother has an important role in her son's life, but nobody, and I want to be very clear, nobody will take control of my life ever.
I understand that control is an important aspect of your personality.
Yeah, of course, and to be very, very honest with you, it's the opposite. It's the other way around. It's her mother who's manipulating Egle and who's telling her what to do.
I understand. But you have given your consent for Egle to travel with Lila to Egypt and then to Lithuania.
No, I did give my consent. I never wanted to stop her because, you know, I was sure she could take a revenge on Lila, which she did actually.
A revenge? What do you mean by revenge?
Well, okay, I have to be completely honest with you about that. I have some new relationships, and I'm afraid Egle knows that.
Thank you for telling me the fact that I think it's
It's not a
important.
secret anymore. It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah, I understand. Well, is there anything specific before she went to Lithuania? You were already growing distant from each other.
Yes.
Were you able still to see Lila during that period? What was
Yeah.
the arrangement at that point?
Well, I would. The thing is, before that, I could see her. I wanted to see her every day because I don't want her to feel abandoned. And now, I'm. You know, there's one thing more.
Yeah.
my neighbors and my mother, they both discovered something. You know, Egle was kind of cruel to animals, and this thing makes me really angry at Egle. Plus, she was rather harsh with her sick son. You know, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
You're afraid, yeah. But you mentioned that you were angry at Egle. Why do you think you're angry at her?
Because she's kind of... I always wanted to have a big family.
Family is important for you.
Yeah. I always wanted to be a good father. My parents divorced when I was 5. And I did not see my father ever since. I always felt abandoned because of that situation, and later I found out that my mother did not allow my father to visit or contact me.
It is a harsh situation. And I see that you don't want Lila to be in the same position, and you don't want Egle to act the way your mother acted years ago.
Indeed. I just want to be part of her life.
You want to be an active father and provide her with the care that she needs.
I do.
I understand it's important for you. So before she went to Lithuania, were you able to be this active father that you wanted to be?
Yes, I wanted to see her every day. I wanted to grow up, to raise her, because I'm her father, and I don't want her to feel abandoned. I don't want her to feel like her father doesn't care of her.
Were you able to see her every day before they moved to Lithuania?
I did.
Understand. Wow. And what happened after Egle went on vacation to Lithuania? What was your reaction when she didn't come back?
Well, she didn't come back, and I was angry.
You were angry at her.
Yeah.
Did you try to contact her in any way?
Yeah, I tried to. I tried to email. I tried to send emails to phone, but she never answered.
There was no response.
No response
and you
at
didn't
all.
Receive any
No response at all.
Okay.
No information. I couldn't know anything about my
You
Lila.
were worried about Lila's well-being at the time.
I told you. I told you before. The fact of the cruelty towards animals, the fact of the cruelty towards her kid, Louis.
And you're still concerned about the well-being of Lila.
I'm still concerned about the well-being and the safety of Lila. I think it's normal. I think it's something...
It's something a father would do.
Yeah.
Something a parent
would do. A good father. And I think I am a good father. Am I?
This is not for me to judge.
Okay, but
you will be the father that you deem would be the best for the interest of Lila. Well, thank you. Thank you for being so honest. And thank you for sharing this information. I really believe that we're making progress. And for me, it is very important that I have this deep understanding now of the situation, of the entire situation. And my suggestion now would be to invite Egle back. And together, you and Egle, to start brainstorming some options that you have to consider and to see which options actually would meet the best of interests of Lila. Because as at the beginning, we have Lila in the center of our discussions. And our focus and our entire attention should be to secure the well-being of Lila. That's what we're here for today. So with your consent, I will go and ask for Egle, and then the three of us would proceed with brainstorming options that could be a solution to the issues at hand.
Okay, let's do that.
Thank you.
During caucuses, the mediator tried to understand the viewpoints of each party and understood that a significant level of resentment is reached. This might constitute an obstacle to a possible agreement between the parties. However, the mediator sees a point of common interest. Even though from different perspective and under a different reading of the circumstances of the case, both parents believe that child interests should prevail. Based on this point, the mediator will seek to open the channel for cooperation between the parties.
Well, thank you again for coming here. Congratulations, I think we are making progress. A lot has been shared during those private meetings, and now it's time for us to actually discuss what options we have. As at the beginning, we are here today to focus our entire attention to Lila and what's going to be best for her. And Giovanni, I would ask you again to put a picture of Lila in the center.
Okay.
This would guide us, this would remind us that we are here today not about you. It is about your beautiful baby girl. So, taking it from there, Egle, in your perspective, what were the problems that induced you not to want to come back from Lithuania to Italy?
In general,
Yeah, general.
He was not good father for the Lila.
You liar! This is not true. You're making up stories.
He was always absent.
You ran away with Lila, not me.
Stop. I was taking care of my child, of my children, both of them, of my baby, of house, and everything I had to by myself. That's the problem.
It's bullshit. In a week, I just was out one night to play some football with friends, and I never came later than 10 p.m. And she's telling me I'm not a good father.
Don't shout and stop lying, okay?
You stop lying.
Every day
Stop
during all
lying.
week and weekends, he was away.
Just one night per week.
Stop lying.
Okay, so do you think this helps you in finding
She's
a
saying
solution?
bullshit.
He's lying.
Do you think that this is helpful for you to find a solution for the well-being and the interest of Lila?
You know what? Just move on.
Okay, so Giovanni, I'll turn my attention to you, but what are the reasons? Why would you like Lila to live with you in Italy?
I grew up without a father, and I'm sure she knows that. She knows that. I don't want Lila to feel the same.
Okay, but have you shared that perspective with Egle?
I've tried to, but anytime I've tried to, she never answered.
Liar. He was never trying to make a contact with me, never called me, he just lost interest in us.
Okay, so
Now tell.
I understand that it's important for you. So it looks like both of you want to participate in Lila's life. And it looks like both of you want to be an active mother and father to your daughter Lila. Do you think, and is it a possibility for the two of you to take care of your kid? Can we agree on that?
I would like to live with Lila in Lithuania. That's it.
Nonsense. I have a good job in Italy. That's why Lila has to live with me.
Despite all possible difficulties, I would like to live with Lila in Lithuania.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on those difficulties that you're...
Just to know, like being single mother, taking care of my son who has special needs, and a baby daughter and mother, and it means that I have no possibility to work. That's main difficulties.
You have the solution up front. Me, Lila living with me.
No.
Well, I'm sure that both of you want the best for Lila. And I can see by the way that you're talking, by the passionate way with which you're describing the situation, how passionate you feel about this. And I greatly appreciate it. But what it would be important now for us is really to try to combine your needs with Lila's interests.
You can come to visit her to Lithuania, really.
So could you if she lives in Italy?
But do you understand that my son is in Lithuania and I must take care of him? I can't come to Italy.
Come on. You left your son Louis with your neighbors without any problem. And just for a holiday in Egypt. Or
Stop
you can
it,
leave
stop
him
it.
with your mother.
You know the situation with neighbors. We had a special relation. That's why I left my son with them. My mother is too old
You're
to take
just
care of
making
my
up
son.
excuses. You still have neighbors and a mother.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, we are now looking at the opportunity and the possibility of Lila living with either of you. Is that correct?
I would like Lila to live with me in Lithuania.
I want the same in Italy.
Okay. You want that the same, and do you have any specific reason as well for that? Let's look into the languages. What languages does Lila speak?
I talk with her in Lithuanian, she knows it.
I speak with her in Italian, but this is irrelevant. She was born in Italy and she has always lived in Italy. How do you think the life in Lithuania will affect her?
I'm sorry. I'm sure that life in Lithuania
Do you think
will
it's
have
easy
no
to
consequences on her.
pick a little girl and throw it to another country
You
she
know, it's
doesn't
better
know?
to grow up a child in Lithuania to compare with Italy.
Why? So tell me why.
Just look
Do
your
you-
mass media, all that criminals, terrorists,
of course,
mafia, and so
biases.
on.
Congratulations. So you think
better
she
to live
will
in
not
calm
live with an open
countries.
mind? Yes.
Let's
She's biased.
not label each other, and let's stick to the fact. Let's look into the picture of your girl and look into what's best for her. Let's turn the subject a little bit differently. Egle, can you tell me more about your trip to Lithuania?
Nothing was wrong with that trip. Just during the holidays in Egypt, I decided to go to Lithuania and ask him a reliance.
That I give it to you.
Yes.
Did you come back?
No, because my plans changed and he knows why, and there was no sense for me to come back to Italy. And when he was calling to me,
Oh, you see, earlier she denied that I was trying to call her.
come on, every time
she's
he
a
called
liar.
me,
She's simply a liar.
I was afraid to pick the phone. He's so aggressive.
I understand that.
I'm not
emotions are
aggressive.
high.
I do not suffer
Don't
of
shout
anger.
at me.
Okay, as before, do you find that this helps us? Do you find this helpful? I see that you're emotional, and I understand that. And being emotional is what brought you here today in the first place. And it seems that we are not being able to talk to each other. Let's go further a little bit. Can any of you see a possible place of residence for Lila?
I would like to have her to grow up her in Lithuania. I already told.
I have to raise her in Italy, period.
Well, I see that the two of you don't want to give up on your initial positions. And that's always, it's normal in the process of mediation for us to be sticking to our initial positions. And it seems that we are not reaching a solution. Not reaching a solution is also a legitimate outcome of the mediation process. You still have other venues to pursue, other options to choose from. A court may rule in your favor or in the favor of the other. I would just like to remind you that there's no guarantee whether the social services or the court would rule in the favor of any of you. And I'd like you to take this information with you and to see whether still we don't have an opportunity jointly now, today, to see whether we can find a settlement where the interests of Lila are secured and compromise that you can make in terms of the wishes that you have expressed so far.
Social services. Well, I don't know. Let's see what we can do.
Do you have your consent to proceed with the process?
Yes, I don't want them to be involved here.
Yeah, absolutely. Me neither.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the wise decision.
I could bring Lila to you to Italy for 1 or 2 weeks.
Per year?
Even every 6 months, it's not a problem.
Giovanni, what do you say about it?
It's not enough. I only have one month vacation per year, and I will be spending it for being with Lila.
So maybe in addition you can come to Lithuania just to visit her as well.
I mean, if she lives with me, you can do the same, and I work here, so it would be easier, you know.
Well, maybe that's an option, Egle, that you could agree, or can we consider it?
Maybe we can even, I don't know, move somewhere halfway.
Halfway? Is like a new city in between?
Halfway. Well,
Why not?
I don't know. I think another city could not be the best solution for her.
Would it be your preferred way forward then, if it's not a third city in a third
Okay,
country?
we should live in the same city, in Italy. She has always lived here. Why don't you want to come to Italy with your son? I mean, what's wrong with it?
But we were talking about it. We were already living in Italy, and my son was facing several troubles in adapting himself here, and as well about all that medical care. And in Lithuania, I have my mother who can help me with him, and because I must take care of Lila as well, and all that medical care is very expensive in
But
Italy.
I understand you, but it's very good, the medical care here.
Yes, but it's too
Yeah,
expensive
but-
for me. I can't afford it.
Okay. It's a matter of money. Let's say I'm gonna support you, financially speaking, until you find a job. Okay?
Egle, do you find this agreeable, going back to Italy under such conditions?
It's the best I can do.
But just till that time when I find a job, okay?
For a couple of years.
So if it is possible just to get some financial aid and to be able to take my son here and my mother for help and for caring of her as well. So
Yeah,
I think it's-
that's a great idea. You would have with you also your mother, and you would have also a little bit of help. Why not? And she adores being with grandsons.
Well, then in that scenario, who would Lila be living with?
I would like to live with her, definitely. It's my daughter.
Okay, but
Giovanni,
just
how do you...
okay. We have to set up a residence, but we have also to understand that Lila is not a package, should not be treated as a package. So we should at least find 2 apartments close
Maybe
to
we
each
can
other.
find even a flat apartment in the same building, for example.
Yeah, why not? In the same building. Yeah.
Would that mean that Lila will be able to see her father anytime she wants to?
Definitely, it's not a problem for me if we live nearby and he would have possibilities to come and to see her whenever he wants.
Yeah, both of us. For me,
Accepted,
it's the same.
So it seems to me that we have reached the principal agreement. Congratulations for you for making this huge progress, for being brave enough to confront the issues that lay at hand, and for making those wise decisions that take into account the best of interests of Leo. My suggestion is, as I see that you are too tired now, my suggestion is for us to take some time to reflect upon the decisions you've made today, um, seek some legal advice, and we see each other next week, perhaps even Monday, so that we put in writing everything, we get into the details of it, we have your lawyers review the agreement, and we finalize it.
So on Monday, what time? Because
Is-
I'm free after 6 p.m.
Okay,
I'm at work before.
what's your schedule?
It suits me well. Everything okay.
So
6
if we
p.m.?
say 6 p.m.
Yeah,
Monday,
great.
okay, so we have agreed 6 p.m. next Monday when we will be finalizing the mediation agreement, the settlement agreement. Okay. Well, thank you again for the progress you've made. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
For me too. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Take care.
Thank
It
you
is
very
pleasure.
much.
Pleasure for me. See you next Monday, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Thank
okay,
you.
Great. Thanks.
Great. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.